is normal now. I have had not umbrage with. It's like for me, I don't play in the thought realm of things are always as they are. People grow, things come out, different tech comes out, new connections are formed. There's always something different going on. So generally, being at home, the majority of the time is not a problem. Um, you start to notice, obviously, as time goes on, or as time has already gone on, that a lot of things you did day by day are pretty much fluff. And when I say fluff, I mean, do, what were you really out there for? I'm sure in one form or another you save some type of money. You don't have that constant expense of the nightlife anymore. You're not worried about getting beers with the bros after work. You're home, so there's really no travel. You did expend hopefully less energy than you normally do. My question always becomes then, why do people act the way they do still? Like, I know that we obviously have larger problems at hand, so I can't make that point across just human behavior, but there's got to be a way for I don't I just don't I don't get people's mindsets. Like if things were really so we have these conversations about revolution a lot, right? And like people standing up for a good cause, right? If people if people just didn't I don't know, let sorry, it's dry air in here. Thank you. If people don't this shirt is big. I like tighter shirts. Anyway, if people don't have a means to like not focus on but a few things, why do they go crazy? Like how much of our lives are just repetitive motions? Like how much of our lives are even close to or remotely as busy as we make them? I'm gonna keep sneezing. Today's that day. Where's my hand sanitizer? I am alone. I will sanitize. Oh, my disinfectant is it's in a bag somewhere. Anyway, it's gonna keep happening. I guess it's sensitive nose time. I don't understand where people's like interests lie in not making the world a better place if everything has been removed from you to which that could distract you. Oh, oh, yeah. I feel that one. Yeah, just somebody's having family issues, and of course they choose to engage me in the middle of a goddamn stream. Um, I can't even prioritize. Like, look. Okay, so there's an example right there. I can't even prioritize saying, "Hey, I understand you're going through something right now, but I'm in the middle of doing what I have to do. So hopefully you can hold these thoughts." No, I gotta run and help them. Like, why am I so trained to do so, even just as a nice person, knowing full well that I'm well and more interested in the thing that I'm doing that I have passion for? So this goes back to what we had said last stream. Like, what is the emphasis here on not being able to separate yourself from the things that don't correlate with your goals? Why do I feel like I have to do the certain thing? Why do I feel like if I try something new, where's that uncomfortability coming from? If you remember, it's the same. It's the same situation here. Yo, the pivot I'm gonna make at the end of this thought is gonna be so crazy. Just the pivot gonna be wild. Yo, I don't understand life right now. It doesn't make sense to me for a few reasons, but the more important reasons, I don't get like how do humans not agree on preventative measures to stop the spread of a virus? Why is that a debatable topic? I did the thing because I'm not used to these handlebars. To them being why why on earth is that a issue? Why is it all of a sudden like why is it all of a sudden we don't get our just due? Like why are we so hesitant to challenge anything that's told to us because it doesn't make sense? Like we don't do the proper research, and I hate that word research now. We don't seek out thought to make us better. Because if we did, then it would be easy to find out. Oh wow, there was a flu back then that was doing the same thing, and that's doing the same thing, and there were other people back then that didn't want to wear masks. So we're not going to be them because that wasn't that far ago. Like that was recent in human history. No, we're back to the same thing. Mask issues. Oh, I gotta wear a mask. This is Target and I have freedom. And I'm like, I don't get what is in your brain. What is in your brain that made you say they're trying to control me? Why? What is that thought? Explain that to me. What is that thought that you have that's so on the mark that all of a sudden anybody else who doesn't think like you, even if it's just for the betterment of other people, is all of a sudden a bad person? Why are you telling me that I gotta wear a mask? It's like I shouldn't. Thank you. But for some reason, you've made it an issue. No, I'm not. You can't just message me like that. Sorry, bro. Can't just message me like that. Anyway, like that. Like there's some dude messaging me on my phone like 10:30 at night, talking some like okay. Why are these things important to you that you feel like you got to reach out to other like you don't respect people's time? Why are people not nice to each other? Could be the entirety of what I'm telling you right now. That could be it. It absolutely could be it. Why are people not nice to one another? That could be the answer here. But it's not. It's not. That's not at all what this is. That's not a like it's not a question. It's not a it's not a rhetorical statement in the realm of, well, there's obvious reasons for it. Why are there obvious reasons for it? You see what I mean? It's not a question. It's a query, which is a question, but like I want you to think about that. Why don't we have the means to do this if we're all going through the exact same thing? How do human beings make that fair for them? This like human thought as it is just a parallel of all that we have ever ingrained into our systems. If we say money does not matter tomorrow, money just does not matter. Like I guess like I that's why I can't understand people who like say, "Oh, you're all a bunch of sheep. You listen to the mainstream media." It's like it's not that you're right. It's that you don't have a sense of what's good or bad. Like, if the media is lying to you, then why are you siding with the people who are promoting more negativity? I'd rather take at least Because you think there's an underlying reason to it, and even though the world is harsh, like you could care less. Okay, fine, 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 fine. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll let you have that. That's on you. That's fine. But you cannot be serious in asking yourself, why does the world work the way that it does if the promotion of good is seen as an evil and the promotion of evil is seen as good? Like, I hate people who are just like, oh, our vote don't count. Oh, it's all government conspiracy. They're gonna make us slaves again. I can't. They're gonna take away our God-given right to have guns. It's like, yo, half the things you know of that exist on this planet have only been here like for a grain of sand in the time of Earth's existence. And somehow you think you're so evolved that you have to be mean to people who want better health for other people. Like, yo, how you have a rally around? Yeah, I've never gotten over that. That's, see, we don't talk about these things anymore because you feel like the issues have just been compounding all the way to the Capitol riot. But like, Black Lives Matter used to do the thing where they would block all the streets mad sloppily, and oh, a healthcare worker couldn't get through, and I had to have him get surgery or whatever, and I'm a doctor. Those were bad things. But instead of not doing those things, they did those things in worse fashion. They were forcing businesses to open. Oh, I'm gonna open up my barbershop and tell government that they can't tell me what to do. Who cares if I have to pay a $1,500 fine? I'll just crowdfund it. Like your brain said, oh, I'll just crowdfund the $1,500 when you could just crowdfund the $1,500 without even opening. Just make it up. Like, no, just make it up. There's no way. There's no way that you're telling me right now that people are doing this by accident. This can't, this has to be on purpose. That's what I don't like about excusing excusing QAnon and Trump supporters for their actions. But I want to, before I like head into that, I want to make sure I did finish this thought properly. Um, yeah, okay, no, yeah, I still don't understand the world and what the decisions are of some people who just don't have the nuance to say things are not the same anymore. Therefore, you must take it with the new guys. They don't understand themselves. So yeah, I can't excuse that. Like, what you're telling me is that there's 74 million people who found use in some part of all that was happening. That's a problem. That's a problem. Now this goes back to the mask thing. This goes back to my original point. I don't. There are certain facets of life that even I can feel are not normal for me anymore. Like I can definitely say this year, this time under the pit, which it's supposed to do, like has put a different spin on my perspective on my necessary duties in life. Like there's some things that as you grow older, you try to understand more, and I guess sometimes you don't get it until you have to do it. But right now, it's in a situation where like you really got to think about your life every time you go out there. So it's this extra added stress of unblissful. Like you have to be physically aware of everyone at every time. Normally, you wouldn't care if the train's packed. The train's packed. But now it's like, oh, that's 10 people in this car. I'm not fucking with this train right now. Just these little extra things add up, and they do change your persona. They do change who you are. They do change how you interact with people. They change the usefulness of each interaction. Beforehand you might have saw Q Shorty on the train tracks. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go over and holla." But now it's like, uh, I just want to get home and not have anybody like homeless breathe in my face. So I can't excuse like people who at their core were the ones against all of this. Yeah, I like Donald Trump for his economic policy. I'm sorry. He's directly harming the country that you so called love. You can't accept that chunk of him and then say, well, the other guy's going to do something worse, so I'd rather have that and I'll take the chaos. You don't get that at this stage. You don't get to have that. Like, everybody who has been under totalitarian or authoritarian rule on this earth had at least some sense of, there were some people in that crowd who were like, well, I know we live in the slums down on Slop Lane, but the king does well for us. He gives us our scraps when it's necessary, and we get by. We do our hard work and we work the land. And it's like, yeah, but that shouldn't have happened, period. So I don't know. Am I critiquing American culture? That's where I get into like a really weird, the words come in, paradigm about what life should be. Because half of me is like, great, I do this, I speak, I love speaking, I fucking teach. Like, I sadly love the sound of my own voice, and when it's a group of people around, and I get to like express myself and show them cool things and walk them through it. But like, I have to work hard to monetize that. And through the pathway of stuff that I've taken in life, I have to work twice as hard to straight to break even. And that's weird to me. It's really weird to me how this is what we do. This is the driving force for how we interact with other people, ourselves, our souls, what jobs we pick, where we choose to live, what we choose to enjoy. It's all just programmed. Like, not like literally. I'm not like we're all part of some neural network, but like we are. We are in a sense just whichever way the path takes us. There's rarely a jump straight. Some people will talk about like, oh, well, there's plenty of stars, people who made it big. They were just, homeless at one point, and then they like, yeah, those are pathways. But those pathways require so many other pieces to all fall into place that the odds of it happening to the majority of people is so low. Like, you look at other stars on the movie screen and you're like, that couldn't be me. But why not? Now, obviously, there's a whole I'm not marketable, I don't want that this, blah, 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 that, like the business, I don't know it, like that type of thing. But at the same time, is it economic factors? Who's going to become a Hollywood star if their rent's due next week and they got to work at Starbucks? Like, what time am I using for acting? God forbid you have a kid. What time am I going to use to pursue my dreams to be an actor? Now, some people would say, just don't have a kid or whatever. Things happen. Things happen. The amount of education, the area that you're in, the men you choose to date, the women you choose to date, the partners you choose for the sake of that. What about it? What about it is really in your control to allow you to do all that other stuff? Like, what about this is fair to those who didn't get a real big boost in their upbringing? Like, little Sally and little John, they got their they got their cello lessons. They got their they got their snowboarding vacation. They got their tickets to go to the garden conservatory and study the flowers and plants and learn all about that. Kid like me had to be home before the streetlights was off. They wasn't hosting those programs. They weren't funding those programs. And if they did, they picked people who presented it like we were white kids. There was no relatability. I felt like I was in another class. What fun am I having? I got to work twice as hard just to find the programs. And then when you get chosen, they don't explain things to you all the way. They just, hey, welcome to the program. You'll have to do this amount of work. It'll be hard, but I promise you, you'll get something out of it. How does that put food on my table? How do I help my dad move out? How do I help my family out with this program? We live in a capitalist society. Are these going to help me get a better job? Do people hire if you were an SEO scholar? Half the people I know don't even know what that is. What circles am I going to be put in? That's a question. What does this give me access to? Can I walk down to Goldman Sachs and be like, "Yo, I'm this"? What a little interview, little show me around? Help me under does do I get stock tips? You're only in 8th grade. I don't care. How does this put me ahead in the world? Because half of these people out here that are making that money, that grind, ain't got none of that. Don't have a damn thing but the circles they were put in. And we look at their accomplishments and we say, wow, that's great. And those are the people that we should all be focused on, but instead we're focused on masks. We're focused on masks. Masks. That's how far humanity goes with this. Here we have a moment of class consciousness that's perfect because there's literally no distractions. They limited the things that you were able to do, obviously with the intention of stopping the spread of a goddamn virus. But they gave you the perfect opportunity to say, well, all right, if half of us can't work, then none of us are going to work. You give us a fair wage. There's half the workers in the workforce, right? People lose their jobs, right? But the money's still going. Shit's still circulating. I don't hear y'all talking about global recession or anything like that anymore. What up? Snickers bar. Yeah. I don't I don't picture I don't picture like this somehow being correct. There's no way that this is correct. Regardless of what you say, regardless of what you do, there cannot be that big a subset of people who just have negative views of the world that they live in. That can't be. Because the problem that it insinuates is that there's more than that. 74 million people voted in this election in a country of, let's say, 360 million, 350. Last time I always thought about it was 330. But 74 million. That's at least, sorry, whoa, four, five? Yeah, about four. Yeah, about four. Four and a half. Uh, sorry, one out of four. Yeah, about one out of 4.5. So that's about one in every five people. One in every five people. One in every five said, that's great. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I feel like we're all just we do this thing all the time. I'm trying to is that something on my is that just a shadow? Yeah, that's the shadow of the glasses. I'm stupid. I'm looking at the little corner of my eye over here. Anyway, that's a problem. So a big problem that I'm having is understanding how we're going to deal with the fact that 1 in 5 people voted for a fascist. That is so daunting. If you're just popping into the stream, damn, because this is gonna make no sense unless you have the precursor. There is no way that we can be so divided over so little things in everyday life and how we run things that you can exploit 1 in 5 of the population into believing that the other four are insane. That's not possible. Because what that insinuates is that there's a possibility that in every so often of a group of 5 people, there's more than one. That means that I can assume just variably out of those 1 in 5 people, by 1 in 4, that there's more. And if all it took was some guy to promote that message, that means that that has always existed past the time of the civil rights movement. Therefore, the things that we were fighting for then are still existing now. Because in theory, we wouldn't have anybody who would want to promote this bad a message straight out to everybody. So while I can't figure out certain facets of life, like not going out as often, having to talk more online, being on my computer, connecting with people here, which makes my time on the computer more busy because I'm not outside doing something to where I can catch that natural break, that regular break. There are people out here that don't understand the reality of the situation that we're actually in. So it's weird because I don't know how to reach those people. And that is the problem. Because what I'd be doing is not telling them, hey, here's the truth, you've been lied to. I'd be pretty much re explaining like humanity to them. Does that make sense? I would be reteaching them the basics of like dealing with life. Because at this point, it wasn't the information, it was the emotion that they were getting from it. They felt really part of a marginalized group that held dominant power, that were able to do things that other races in this country were not allowed to do. Straight up, like white privilege. To be even having this debate on whether or not people that storm the Capitol are insurrectionists. Literally pushing not even a Republican agenda. They just said Donald Trump is our guy, and there's no way that you can steal him from us. That shit is not going away tomorrow. It's going to be quelled down massively, as we've noticed from the drop in misinformation that spread. We've noticed a straight drop in troll bots, troll like all of that shit is gone. Like there's a massive drop in people sharing false articles, needing fact checks, etc. Shit's quiet, but those people still are mad about it. A lot of them are mad that they weren't there that day because maybe they're thinking, damn, if I would have went, I probably would have found Nancy Pelosi. Like that sick shit. So what am I doing? Like trying to understand that, because the middle of that road is not one in which they can have anything from their side, and I don't think they're ready to understand that. They're not ready to get that it is impossible to backtrack everything that you have been told, because there's just too much to unpack if I don't tell you all the way through. You've gotten quite literal lies from people. Like, you've gotten quite literally lied to. And I don't know how you don't see that. That's what's confusing to me. That's what I don't get. What in what universe is it fair for me to take time out of my life to pretty much bring you back up to speed? How much death does it take around you? And if you're saying that this is an entire nation, that these people just can't process this, where do I align politically? I have no clue anymore. I want healthcare. That's where I align politically. That's where I align politically. I want healthcare. That's where. Yeah, that's a good answer. Oh man, I don't have a fathomable clue. What do I do with those people? Because it's past politics. It's so it's so past politics at this point. Your humanity is literally like stolen. Yeah, yeah. Your humanity is stolen. Just straight up robbed. Because even if you bounded with the political decisions, you still grouped yourself in. Like right now, conservatives keep trying to own white supremacy. Oh, when they talk about white supremacists, they're talking about us. Bro, you don't have to own that. You can separate yourself from that definition. How do you untrain that? Those people are gonna have kids. They're gonna tell their kids, look, this is okay. How do I not have a hold on my life and understanding, like, okay, I've changed because of the way I've had to deal with going outside, talking to people, having meetups, doing projects, etc. How do I how do I go from that to explaining that change, and that's why you're falling for this shit, to people that were able to get into that mindset from the beginning? That's 1 in 5 Americans. 1 in 5 had some allegiance, even if it was the thinnest on the scale, and said Donald Trump. Now, you could say maybe it's not 74 million people. Maybe it's not 74. Maybe a good 30 million of those people were people who genuinely were scared about the misinformation that they were being fed. That's a problem too, because that also says that whatever they heard was enough to say the guy who is the fascist is the guy who will defeat the communist. Like, they were given an option and couldn't see that, like, even the morals. Yeah, that's the scary part, is because I've said that for, okay. So this is gonna detract off my point, so I'm gonna end that thought right here. But that makes me think about that. What you said makes me think about something I've said before, so I'm gonna go with that. Sorry, I'm hungry, but I don't want to make like a whole meal and be snacking in front of y'all. I have gummy bears. I should just go get the gummy bears. But when you're thinking, you're talking, you don't want to stop. So, in a world, okay, yeah, I'm gonna launch into it. Fuck it, this is inside my head. In a world that exists primarily for the exponential exponential growth of its own species. We do everything in our power to make humans live as long as possible. And that goes medical field, technology field, everything. Everything is set with the enjoyment of the human experience, right? This is obvious. In a world that got the internet. So if you was back in the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, I always make this joke, but make it again. In the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, you know it was Hell's Gate. And for me, I wasn't like too into it because I didn't start playing Xbox till Modern Warfare 3, but like a lot of it carried on and I was in like other FPSs, so like I've heard the stuff. But like, yo, online chat lobbies were the worst place to be a person of color. Like it just was. Once they got a whiff, oh you black? Oh bet. Those people grew out of that. I rarely get those type of conversations online anymore. So unless my age group stop playing video games, which is obviously not true, or the new generation is all that plays video games, that tradition died out. Traditions die out. Got you right quick. I'm gonna get you on that one. Traditions die out. Traditions don't last forever, especially in a world that now has the ability to evolve as quickly as ours. The start of the internet is the blending of pretty much everyone. I said that's so nerdy. The start of the internet is like pretty much, the said that's so nerdy. But it's so fascinating to me that once you combine all of humanity, the ideas pretty much flow
Now
together.
you're
Hey,
speaking my
thank you for the
language.
follow. Or was that a follow? Yeah, that was a follow.
Elmo underscore
I
is
hate this.
underscore scary. Is practicing socialism. Now did you die?
I really gotta fix that. I swear. I have better the scenes have better things, damn. I'm gonna replay yours when I get back and I'll give you the better one at least. Thank you for the follow. Um what what pragmatic use is there in conservatism is a question that I've asked before. Hey, let's go. What about what about this way we do things is considered anything but progressive? Why are we not trying to do everything every other country does better than itself? Like I'm so confused at how we're the gold standard, yet we won't do things that other like nations get benefits from. Like shit works for them, you think we would just take it. Now you can obviously say that corporations are all entrenched in this and they're making it really difficult, and people don't want to give up corporate donors because donors will just donate to everybody. But then that brings a point: who wants those things to stay there? The conservatives. What can you conserve out of a culture that's dying? What else are you gonna get out of the people if at some point they realize shit, life could be better for me somewhere else? That's that's scary to me. That we didn't all just snap to that and say, "Yep, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do." Sorry, I'm pointing at it. The Republican Party is in damage control because they don't know what they are anymore. They saw rabid hate for GOP people just as much as Democrats. That's why they're trying to assuage everybody's feelings by saying we're going to go ahead with the impeachment, because they saw, oh shit, these people will go against. That's why Matt Gaetz and them still exist, because they realize that that fan base will turn on them and won't vote them in. So they got to keep the game going, even though they knew Trump was out. They're trying to keep the support for themselves, which brings me back to my all the way original point. Why are we arguing about masks? One little thing to promote the betterment of the entire country. And that one thing alone. Oh, I'll social distance, but I'm not wearing a mask. Why would you not do the whole thing? If part of it makes sense to you, the other parts have to make sense to you. You can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. You can't have it both ways. So, me explaining to you, me having a debate with somebody who already is on that fringe side, I have to pull them back to the bubble of sincere thought first before I could even begin to explain to them how wrong they are. You'll have every statistic in the world. They'll say, show me the numbers, show me the link, show me your research. Bro, whatever research you have has already pointed you in the wrong direction. So I'm not even explaining to you why I'm right. I have to explain to you why you're wrong. That's why these conversations get heated, and that's why that group exists to begin with. Because everyone kept telling them, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But there were some people that kept going along with it, saying, you're right, you're right, you're right. How do you have a decent conversation with one of those people? How on earth do you bind yourself to being important enough to have a conversation with those two people, with those types of people, and still not lose it after all this time? You tell me. You tell me in which world we're going to be in come the next day, 2 days from now, 3 days from now, if we don't immediately put out the message that that shit was bad. Like that's where the whole, oh, we need unity, we need this. No, the reason why you're calling for unity is because we all know it was bad. There are now clear and obvious, which we're going to talk about, bad faith actors. Bad faith actors. And I'm supposed to understand that the pandemic and quarantine turned them into these, like, they can't handle the mental stress. They've got the entire country on their backs. They're breaking apart. No, there is a line between absolute stupidity and at least pressured thought. And you actively choosing to kill people. Remember they declared victory on the coronavirus? Remember that? Trump promised a whole healthcare plan. We never got that. We never got anything. We literally never ever got anything. Anything at all. And we fought over that. Like, we fought over the simplest of things that could have binded us together. We fought over that. That's not funny to you. That's not absolutely like mind bending. Would have been underfunded if you put something in healthcare. Yeah. And we would have bitched about it. See, when Donald Trump does anything, like you guys always complain and moan about it. So now they're gonna try to do the same thing with Joe Biden. And it's not gonna stick because it's all positive net gain. So it's like you 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 just gonna put yourself back in that system. Oh, QAnon. Hey guys, we have to respect the Constitution. I'll see you next time. Check out my podcast. The man ruined the nation over a joke and then just bailed. Then just bailed. How do you untrain people from that? How do you how do you even remotely yo, I can't. I can't. There's no bridge. And we're gonna watch something today that's gonna make me echo this point. Like there's no bridge. I'm like sitting here like over here just thinking, what would I even remotely do? And I'm about to put myself in that situation live on this stream, so I will announce that when it's time. But yo, what do I do? How do I even you're a fucking child. Like that's it. That's it. Like there's nothing else for me to say, man. This duped you? Aw, get out my lobby, bro. Get out my lobby, bro. Get out my lobby, son.